So we're going first to the old capital city of Tskaital. We'll see the Jvari Monastery, which is from 6th century. It's under UNESCO protection, one of the main historical siting which we have in Georgia. And that's the place where our Christianity started spreading. That's the place where our alphabet created. Tskaital, which was the capital city till 5th century. After 5th century, Tbilisi became capital city. And we'll see that church. We'll go inside. First, I'll take you all to go up there. We'll go together inside the church. I'll explain the story of this place and the church too, and then I'll give you time for pictures. Okay? So when we will stop, let's go together. I'll explain you everything and then take time for pictures. After Jvari Monastery, we will go to Jin Valley Dam. That's the lake and the dam, hydroelectric power station, from where we're getting the electricity and water here in Tbilisi. One of the dams. We have other dams too for Tbilisi, so Tbilisi is supplying this water from there. This Jin Valley Dam, it's filling with the mountain river, Aradvi, which is coming from mountains, so it has a blue color because of its clean. It's very clean, and we're getting the water in Tbilisi from there. So tap water in Tbilisi, it's very clean, so you can actually drink from there. It's just only thing is if your stomach will adapt this different water, but in general our water, tap water, is very clean. Almost every city, especially in Tbilisi, because we're drinking that mountain water. After that Jin Valley Dam, we'll go to the fortress Ananuri, which is from 17th, 18th century. One of the well-kept fortress which we have in Georgia. The thing is, throughout our history, because of our geographical location, we always had a lot of enemies. So everything in this country is somehow connected to the wars. Even when we're saying Gamarjoba, which is our hello, it means let us win. When we're saying good morning, which translates as a Pilom Shridobisa, that means have a peaceful day. So we're starting with the day wishing each other to have a peace and not war. Because throughout our history we had a lot of enemies. We are in the middle of Europe and Asia, so this was the part of Silk Road and very demanded territory. So most of the big empires, little enemies too, they were trying to take their territories from us. So we were always in the protection mode. So in every city, in every village, we had some kind of protection fortresses or watchtowers from where we could see if the enemies were coming or not, and they were warning these village people, and then they would run in the mountains and hide, or they would start the war and battle. So this fortress is like one of the good examples how these kind of fortresses would look like. Inside this fortress there is a two church. One church is not active anymore, but you can see outside how it looks like. Another church is active and we can go inside. Not a lot of things stayed in that church after fire which happened in 18th century, but there is still some frescoes and paintings on the wall, so we can see that church too. And then we can make around in the fortress and check the area. From there again you can see this Jin Valley Dam. 1 minute.
This is
The river, yeah, Gwari River. This river is coming from Turkey and then it's going to Azerbaijan in Caspian Sea. So in the whole Georgia, it's Georgia as a country, it's a very little territory. It's only 69,000 square kilometers, which means that you can cross the whole country in one day with the car. And the population is also very less. It's just 4 million people.
4 million.
Yeah, and 1 million approximately lives here in the capital city because main things are happening there. So everybody from the regions, they're trying to come here. We have a 9 region. In this 9 region, people, they have their own traditional dances, traditional culture. I mean the folk dance, folk music. Even their accent is a bit different from Tbilisi, but the language itself is kind of weird. Well, we have other 3 languages also in Georgia, but they are still able to speak in our Georgian language. They are Georgians. It's just they have different language. Like you know better because I know in India every state they have a different language. But most of the people they are speaking Hindi, right?
Yeah.
So what I was saying, and from Ananuri Fortress we'll start going. We need approximately more than 1 hour to reach the slopes. Compared to Europe, it's very cheap. So usually Budapest is very busy, especially during the winter time, because not only we Georgians, not only other tourists like Russians and even from the Middle East, because we have a lot of tourists right now from the Middle East. European people are also coming here because compared to European ski resorts, it's cheap. So the slopes are like same mountains. I mean, it looks like a Switzerland actually. People are comparing our mountains to the Switzerland. There is just cheaper version of Switzerland.
Do you have snow at this time of the year?
Actually, yesterday when we were there, and it was like on the top of the mountain, there was already snow. Not too much snow, but it's starting. And actually, that's very rare because snow in the mountains it's starting in the middle of October, in the beginning of November. Then like little it's starting, and then in the end of November it's already like snow. Then in the beginning of December the season is opening. That's a season for ski resorts for snowboarding and to ski and all the snow bikes, a lot of activities. Cable cars, everything is starting working from the beginning of December, and then it's finishing in the middle of April. Even in the May you can see the snow there. It's just it's not good anymore for those activities because it's already starting to melt and it's a bit dangerous. During the summertime we don't have any snow there, but it's still a very beautiful place and a lot of people are going. That's like most touristic place. Some people they're just coming here and directly going to Caucasus Mountains to see that area. And Kazbek and Budori is the nearest Caucasus area where you can go and just see those mountains. We have other ski resorts too, but just Raneti, for example, which is an amazing place, you need to drive your car approximately 8-9 hours. So if you're going there, then you have to stay there for 2 days and everything. So for Budori, it's easy. And so after in Budori, we will have lunch in the hotel, which name is 2100. That's because it's a 2100 meter above from sea level. And we will have there the Georgian lunch. After we'll finish the lunch, we'll have time. It has a really good terrace. So from that terrace, usually we have very beautiful view. So we're taking usually pictures there, and then we'll start to go to Kazbek, that's our military way. We're taking the road, which we are calling military way. The reason why we're calling the military way is that in the 19th century, when we became the part of Russia, Russia brought their army from that border and with that way. That's the only way you can go to Russia, and that's the only way from Russia you can come here, only legal way, I mean. And that's why we're calling it military way. And with Stepantsmin, the city where we will go, and we'll take this 4-wheel cars, it's jeep cars. The reason why we need that jeep tour, it's because of its rounded roads of the mountain. The 1 year ago, it was an off-road, that's why we did it. But nowadays they made that road, so road is really good. It's just because it's a very rounded road. These big cars, buses, and minibuses are not able to go up there, so we need to change the car, sit in those jeeps, and go up there with them cars. That's like last destination there. It's a Goergia called the Trinity Church from 14th century. Nobody knows how they were able to build that church over there because it's on the top of the mountain and it's overlooks the whole Caucasus Mountains. And we will be very lucky. We can also see the second highest peak, which is a 5,047 meter above sea level. We're calling it Kazbek Peak. But most of the time in the last 1 month, I didn't see that peak because it was always covered with the clouds and fog. That's why I'm saying if we will be lucky, it will be very clear sky, then maybe we'll see them. Otherwise, anyway, it's very beautiful view from there because you're overlooking the whole Stepantsmin city and you're overlooking all these Caucasus Mountains. And we will be just 10 kilometers away from Russian border. So after those mountains, it's already Russia, the region of Vladivostok. So you can imagine this Caucasus mountain is a natural border between Georgia and Russia. Our neighbor countries are Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia. And a lot of people ask me if our culture is similar to their culture, and it's all different, totally different from any of our neighbor countries. Of course, maybe you'll find some similar foods and everything we have, and they are taking, and we're also taking something, but that doesn't mean that the culture is similar. It's totally different. contract with Russia to get the protect from them, but they betrayed us, and instead of protection, we became the part of them. So last 2 centuries, and Russia is a big enemy of us, and our last war was happened in 2008. I'm not talking about politics right now. I'm just giving you information because then you will see the peace bridge, we'll see the other places, and that's the motive why we are building some things. We will also see the panoramic view, which is in Budauri. We'll stop there for take pictures. I'm going to give you time. Maybe we'll come back because the panoramic view was also made in 20th century as a symbol of friendship between Russia and Georgia. But I have to tell you that we're now friends, right? So it's not a politics, just facts. And the last 2 centuries, it's Russia. Before it was Persian people. Before it was Ottoman Empire. Before Ottoman Empire it was Mongolians, and before Mongolians it was Arabs. Arabs was invaded us for a long time, from 7th century till the 11th century. It was all Arabs. So it was very hard to protect the religion in this country, by the way, because throughout our history we had all the time these different religion enemies. They were always trying to change the religion, but people they were just dying and not taking another religion. That's why we're still Christians, and a lot of people die because of that. 80% of the people they are Orthodox Christians, and in this country people are very religious. So in Tbilisi you'll see a lot of churches. It's more than 1,000, and outside also outside of Tbilisi you will see the little churches at the top of the mountain and the caves everywhere. Churches are very important, and people are very religious here. The first destination also what we will see is a church. Another destination is also a church, and that's Kirgeti Holy Trinity. It's also a church, right? But other than the churches, yeah, it's just nice places, also beautiful views and amazing places to take pictures. So we'll see everything today. Today, what we have this tour is the most demanding tour. It's very you're cold, yeah. I turned on because I closed the window, so I thought that maybe you would be hot. If you will, I'll turn on.
You need to change the dollar to your currency.
Okay, could you